infrastructure. Hate saying that's the fact. And trust me, if no offense to anyone out there, if this was Hillary's vision, I would be talking about maybe be more heated. But we are where we are, and we're going to make the best of it. We're going to be unified as a nation. Number 4, provide maximum flexibility to the states. That's okay. Again, I don't know that from all the actions that we're going to be taking, how that will provide flexibility to the states. If we're going to have more federal spending on these things, I feel like that's going to take away from the state's economy. But I don't know. That's just, math must work more than one way. I don't know. Okay, Ethan, could you please...
Just give me one more moment here.
One more moment from Ethan P. Papa Surge. This guy here, Ethan P. Papa Surge, now... Trump, because who else do you say Ethan P. Papa Surge? Donald J. Trump. Nobody says Jacob W. Jackson.
It's a pride in my initials, my full name.
Okay.
My full name, my given name.
Jabs at him, so speak up a little
Okay,
bit.
all right, we're almost ready here. So what we're going to do is we're going to post this. I'm hearing an echo. Where's that coming from?
Well, probably
my headphone that I have in.
No, I don't know echo.
You're hearing it?
If you see an echo, let us know. But
I don't know why there'd be an echo.
Continue to do your little, intelligent stuff over there. I'll go ahead and continue to do this.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, number 5 on the Donald J. Trump's vision for infrastructure in America.
Is your computer on?
Is my computer on?
Is the speaker? Do you have the speakers?
I don't know. No, they're not on. Okay, maybe they were. Anyways, number 5, create thousands of new jobs in construction, steel manufacturing, and other sectors to build the transportation, water, telecommunications, and energy infrastructure needed to enable new economic development in the U.S., all of which will generate new tax revenues. Wow. So
those are some big words.
Those are big words. We are going to use tax dollars to create jobs to generate
There's no echo. There's no echo. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. Yeah, shout out Hazel. Okay. So, Caveman, focus.
I'm focusing, man.
Okay.
I gotta post
He's got his
this.
skull cap on right now, and it's choking his brain.
It is choking my brain. It is.
It's all right. All right.
It's like on.
This is a family show, but
That's on.
Knob Creek.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Now back to Donald J. Trump's.
Oh, I know where it's coming from. I think it's coming from the Hangout.
Caveman is very close coming on back onto the show here. Okay. Next objective. Leverage new revenues and work with financing authorities, public-private partnerships, and other prudent funding opportunities. Okay.
Okay.
Good goal.
Okay.
Okay. So all Mr. Caveman over here is doing is just mocking me. He's not participating in the podcast.
I'm trying as hard as I can to get ready.
5 people out there right now that I guarantee you could mock me better than you're even mocking me. So if you're going to mock me, at least make me a good mock.
I'm the best in the world at what I do.
Okay, now, okay. So are microphones actually working now, or are they still just
we're about to have audio up. I mean, we're 40 minutes past schedule at this point. That's not
40
bad.
minutes past schedule. I mean,
Trying to figure out
7 seconds. Go. No, never mind. Okay.
2400.
Wow. He's an elitist over here in his math skills. Okay.
It's scary madness.
Okay, next Trump vision for infrastructure. I'm not good with math. I moved my screen. I think number 7. Implement a bold, visionary plan. System of roads, bridges, tunnels, airports, railroads, posts, and waterways and pipelines in the proud tradition of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who championed the interstate highway system. Okay, so you would say he's one-upping President Dwight D. Eisenhower by saying champion the interstate highway system, but Trump is going to champion roads, bridges, tunnels, airports, railroads, ports, waterways, and pipelines, which is, again, a great, bold, visionary plan.
So championing everything like that, and this is very interesting because of corporatism. was eminent domain and the railroads, and obviously that exists today in highways and pipelines and everything like that. So it really gives an opportunity for these large corporations to get in bed with the government, and the government can say that something is better for the public, and then they use eminent domain to steal someone's property. And it benefits these corporations and maybe benefits everyone else, but that's how wealth gets centralized with certain companies.
So you're trying to say that the large corporations and the government are almost in, the same bedroom. Is that?
I would say they're in
the same bedroom.
They're in a bedroom. We need to keep government out of.
So a point I always like to make is my friends on the far left, which aren't many, and not to sound cliche, but labels, don't label yourself a Democrat, a Republican, a conservative, a libertarian, or an anarchist. Unless you're an anarchist and you really truly mean it, then go ahead and label yourself that because you actually mean that. But Democrats, Republicans, you don't necessarily know what they stand for, so you don't want to categorize yourself like that. But back to Ethan's point, after I got off topic, corporations and the federal government in bed together in the domain. So the left hates large corporations in general, and the right hates big government in general, or so, that's the philosophies they like to talk about. But again, explained only one example of eminent domain in which they're working together. And, meanwhile, people like this, left-wing psycho over here from, with his New York values, and crazy right-wing people like me, cowboys, we have to bash each other. Meanwhile, the people that we're trying to control, pull back, give some moral values, work together. So, Ethan, what would be another example of corporatism?
Corporatism. I talked about the pipelines. So one thing that's been, I wonder if I can turn the volume off on here.
Oh my God.
I think that's where this, do you not hear the echo? Okay. Yeah, let me plug my headphones into it.
Tip of the hat to you, man. I got a tip of the hat to
Okay, yeah, so we talked about the pipeline. So one thing about the Dakota Access Pipeline,
okay,
is that it's a very long pipeline. They didn't fix anything.
Okay. If anybody's having volume clarity issues, please just message. But I think Ethan just wants an excuse to mess with the technical stuff again to make me look.
Are your speakers on mute?
Man, yeah, they're on mute still.
Do you hear that sound? Where is it coming from?
JB out there just said,
Ethan, concentrate.
Ethan, concentrate over here from Hazel. And then we got JB over here. Jay's up. Cowboys and leftists do bash. And that is a good point. That's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, okay, they're going to bash no matter what, somewhat. But on the stance of the large federal government and the large, corporations, there's no reason for them to bash because as of right now, they all work together. They hurt small businesses by doing so. They collude to get their huge grants. Similar to Donald J. Trump's vision for education, in which the schools are getting these grants, these huge grants. And they've been working together. So to say they're going to work together at lower prices, that's maybe a dream. What do you think, Ethan?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. We're about to start our official recording here, believe it or not.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Can you set up that thing?
Oh my gosh.
That thing. Okay.
And we're back. Okay. So while Ethan's continuing technical difficulties, I'm going to go on to Donald J. Trump's continued vision of infrastructure in America directly from his website. We went through his education. Now we're about midway through the infrastructure goals, visions. Okay. We are going to employ incentive-based contracting to ensure projects are on time and on budget. Okay, do you have any idea what he means by we're going to employ the incentive-based contracting?
I have great news. This is where we're actually going to begin.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I
got all the technology set up here.
Working?
We're live.
Okay.
We're recording out of that camera.
Okay.
Camera 1. camera too. We're on YouTube,
We do have 2
Live.
cameras now, so we
We're
have
on Facebook Live on the phone. So we have 3-point cameras here. Try to sit back from the microphone if you can a little bit.
I kind of like my microphone.
Okay, I mean,
but,
I
got to hold
fix
on
it.
to it. What do I do with my hand?
Speak.
I don't know what to do. I mean, look at these hands. These hands look small, but I'll put them a little closer to the screen. But little Jacob, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Big Ethan, I tell you what.
So we're going to give it a few seconds here of dead time, and then we're going to go. I'm going to open the episode.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Open the episode.
Give it a few seconds of dead time so we can find
All
it.
right, dead time. We do have to give 3 seconds of dead time. Ready, go.
Hello and welcome. I'm doing that one.
Oh my gosh, no.
Technical difficulties.
We're not planning
Hello,
this.
hello.
This is we're not planning this.
This is Skeeto and the Caveman, episode 1, the inaugural episode.
Inaugural episode.
The inaugural episode. Welcome. We're here in our sunny studio cave here in Austin, sunny Texas. We're happy to start here, and I think we should start by introducing ourselves.
Well, I am Skeeto.
You're Skeeto. I'm the Caveman.
The Caveman.
Now, how long have you been thinking about doing this?
Last week you said we should do a podcast, and our names will be Skeeto and the Caveman. And I thought, what made you think of any of that out of nowhere?
Really? Okay. So there's a little bit of behind the scenes stuff going on there that we, our viewers sometimes like to hear about.
Okay.
What's going on behind the scenes. Let me test the microphones all
Back to
good.
testing one more time here.
No, I think
wow,
we're
that
good.
was
We're
pretty
good.
fancy.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it look at all these?
I
wish they could see it, but I don't want to mess with anything
That's right.
at this point.
So,
Yeah, so really what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about current events, we're going to talk about politics, we're going to talk about our daily lives, and we're going to
not that interesting.
maybe even
Sometimes.
even
Well, Ethan. Yeah.
even a little bit of locker room talk.
Okay. All right. Locker room talk is possible.
About 3 cameras a week there.
Oh.
So obviously today Donald J. Trump was inaugurated. We are now living in Donald J. Trump's America, which I don't, completely like saying that because I don't think the president owns America. In fact, our government should be working for us. So that's one thing I want to get into. But I think it's important to look forward and see what the next handful of years are going to be like. And also, kind of reflect on the Obama years. And
I mean, you don't think that, one guy should be in control of over
I don't
300
think,
million
no,
people?
I don't think one guy
think
should
that's
be
smart?
in control of. And here's the thing. When the election happened and it seemed like half the country went into national mourning,
I did. I mean, a lot more black.
the president should not
Okay.
be. The president should not be that important.
That's it.
The president should not be that important. No one man in our republic should be so important that it causes half the country to mourn when that person wins a fair election.
I agree.
We've lost track. We no longer have balanced, separated powers. So much power has been centralized to the president over the past 100 years. And the thing is that Congress likes giving up the power in a certain respect. Because if Congress gives up the power, then they don't have to be blamed when something goes wrong.
Right.
And then so the president becomes a whipping post.
It does, but at the same time, Congress is not, they are controlled by, as we go back to, as we were talking before we went live here, is corporations. Not to get off track, but I believe that today is Inauguration Day. It needs to be all about Donald J. Trump, okay? We have his monopoly board, Donald J. Trump, Donald J. Trump, Donald J. Trump.
Trump the game.
Trump the game. What is it again? You already read it, but we had one viewer at the time. What's the back say? Do you remember?
See.
Oh, gosh. All right, enough of that. Caveman pulled Skeeto out of the air and suggested the name? ?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And he ate him.
We're going to go with that.
Okay.
Man.
So, go ahead before I cut you off again.
And just for our viewers right now, there's actually some smoke and mirrors going on. I'm actually sitting about 30 feet back from the camera. That's how giant I am. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's important to talk about. I think we want to talk about some things that relate back locally here to Austin, but not losing track of what's going on in the country as a whole, because it all relates to each other, I think. And so obviously Trump was inaugurated today. There's a war on Fourier Caves.
Inside joke.
A lot of what Trump says, sounds good. Just like a lot of what Obama said sounds good. And, every
sounds great.
Sounds wonderful.
Fantastic.
The best.
Okay, go ahead.
The devil's always in the details, and how are we going to accomplish what Trump's looking to accomplish is what we have to figure out.
And first we need to know what he is trying to accomplish. I mean, I just read through a little earlier, about 15 policy.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Where was I?
You were technical difficulties, but the main thing that jumped out to me was the word immediately. And he's already giving off the presence of, I'm going to use executive power, which goes back to, I don't know that, as Ethan said, half the nation should be mourning when one man gets elected, and I don't think one man should have so much power over 300 million people. So, with saying that immediately is a very strong word to say that he's going to get all his visions passed. That's implying the executive order.
We don't elect a king, we elect a president, and that president comes with limited powers.
Supposed to.
Yes, supposed to. Constitutionally supposed to come with limited powers, but we certainly lost track. And when President Obama was in control, the Democrats were so eager to not check him. When the Democrats were in Congress,
right,
they weren't interested in checking the role and the power of the presidency. And the president was so glib in saying, I have a pen and the phone. Elections have consequences. Basically, I can do whatever I want, and just grew the executive that much more and set precedent for whatever came next.
Correct.
So now Trump has at his disposal a very large executive branch of government. Very large. The largest.
But where did that start? I mean, it's been growing. I would say where it really jumpstart was under the George Bush administration.
Well, I would go back a little bit further. I mean, I think there were some pretty big years, pretty big presidencies that grew the executive. Look at FDR. All the programs. There was big growth of federal government and big growth of the executive. Woodrow Wilson's a big one. So it was a long time coming, and
the thing that picked it up, though, I would say, possibly
in our lifetime, definitely.
Right, in our lifetime, I'm saying.
Bill Clinton, when he was elected, he said the age of big government is over, which is laughable if you think about it now. That's what he said. Where he was
started,
just like Richard Nixon said in the 70s, we're all Keynesians now, basically saying sound money, sound economics lost the battle. Clinton basically said, the age of big government is over. Big government doesn't work. So, and so he was trying to be more of a centrist. In a lot of ways he was, but it didn't take, it wasn't Clinton who grew the executive. It took a Republican, nominally conservative, to be elected. A national tragedy happened, and then the president was able to run roughshod.
Correct. I mean, like you said, it started, way back in the day, decades earlier. Policies began to change. Power began to go to the top. Now, when you look at it today, something I even focus on too much would be the national debt, which is a huge deal. Huge deal.
Huge.
I didn't really see it addressed in Trump's thing, other than it was like, hey, it's going to work. But,
we're going to take care of the national debt immediately.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, looking at these numbers, and this is why I said that, really it started under George W. Bush. But,
those are great numbers.
The numbers are great numbers. Great numbers today. Best is good too, but greater. So under George W. Bush, little fun fact, the national debt went up $4.889 trillion. Okay, that is a big jump. And before Bush, looking around, I don't know, let's see here. 9 plus 4, 13, 14 there. So under all the other presidents, it went up about 5 trillion. Under George Bush, it went up 4.88 trillion. And then under Barack Obama, the national deficit has went up 9.3 trillion in the last 8 years. Okay, that's about 75,000 for every person in the United States just who has a full-time job. Which, you know, that's not a huge number. I would think it would be bigger.
Yeah.
It's not taking into account all the unfunded liabilities, but we'll maybe get to that in a later episode. How we're out of control and Social Security eventually is going to be obsolete. So, you know, most people watching this, you know, don't get your hopes up that you're going to get a good retirement.
Yeah, if you're young enough to figure out how to watch a video on YouTube, you're probably not going to live, or on Facebook, you're probably not going to live to the age where you're going to be able to reap the benefits of Social Security.
Right, because they're going to increase the age every couple of years, especially if, you know, they're actually going to hit these visions. You know, the only way they wouldn't would be for, you know, some helicopter money. The Federal Reserve just start pumping out money to, you know, make this infrastructure vision, you know, that's going to happen immediately, make that happen. Okay, so going on to Trump on the Second Amendment, something that cowboys like me, not really, but I do have a cowboy hat, support. A lot of people said, hey, I'm supporting Trump because Second Amendment, which is fine. But, you know, here's his stances on his website on the Second Amendment. And again, that's, you know, one of the reasons I liked Trump. I didn't like everything he did by means and, you know, love-hate relationship. But Hillary Clinton will appoint radical Supreme Court justices that will virtually abolish the Second Amendment. So a lot said there. It doesn't say anything about Trump's position. It's on his website under his positions. But, okay, so that's his position there. He has two more. The second position for Donald J. Trump is Hillary Clinton will overturn the Supreme Court ruling that affirmed the Second Amendment as a private right so that any city or state in this country can ban private gun ownership. So again, doesn't really have anything to do with his vision, but it was a good point, and it's a true statement, and it gained over a lot of voters. What are we doing over here, Ethan?
This is a fun little thing that the New York Times put out that I've really taken a look at, and we'll share it on all of our pages. It's the New York Times You Draw What Got Better or Worse During the Obama Presidency. It's very interesting. It breaks down some of the key indicators of the health of our nation and the economy, and kind of challenges what some of your preconceived notions might have been. So the first one it gives is the unemployment rate. Now, the unemployment rate at the end of the Obama years is 4.9, where at the beginning and the end of the Bush years it was 5.8. Now, I think the unemployment rate is a joke of a number.
Definitely a joke of a number. And nobody really, and most people don't look into that. I mean, what does the unemployment rate really mean? Put you on the spot.
The unemployment rate is the amount of people who are looking for a job who don't have a job.
Correct.
So the people who have, for lack of a better word, for one reason or another, they can't work or they don't want to work, they're not factored into the unemployment rate.
What do you mean it's the unemployment rate? So it shouldn't be everyone that's unemployed?
You would think so. And so this is one of the things where people say numbers are numbers, but statistics can be manipulated and packaged in a way to fit a certain narrative.
That makes sense.
And I think this is one of the things that Trump rose up in this environment, because there's so much, call it fake news or call it, you know, there's this manipulation of statistics, and everyone can see the sky is blue. You know, everyone can see that the economy is not as good as it should be, and people are struggling across this country. But then they put out, you know, numbers. Oh, the economy is getting better. The unemployment rate is down to 4.9. Well, what exactly does that mean?
I think, as you said, it's all about hitting the narrative, and the narrative has now changed drastically. We had 8 years of one narrative that was pumped out by, you could say, the left. You have a new one pumped out by the Donald J. Trump administration. While on the in-between, you could say, not to go conspiracy, but the dark state,
The deep state.
The dark state, has a lot of influence on those numbers, what's popped out, media organizations. And so that's not something to be looked over lightly and say, hey, it's President Obama or it's President Trump. And something that people, I believe in, and I don't know if I believe in it or not, but something that I found intriguing about Donald Trump is, could he, actually be going against some of those deep state?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk.
Okay.
So I really like the point that you're making. That's why I wanted to dig in.
I love the points.
So Trump is inaugural today. He even said, too much power has been centralized here in Washington. We have to spread power out to the people. If you've ever been to Northern Virginia, it is the most beautifully manicured area of this country. Parks galore, bike paths, trails. There's so much wealth centralized there. And when the whole housing collapse, the whole financial collapse happened, the first place to rebound was Northern Virginia, where all these government workers work. They don't, government it doesn't matter how bad they are at their jobs, doesn't matter if they cause an economic collapse, doesn't matter if they cause the purchasing power of currency to go down, they're always going to be employed.
I agree. I mean, people, obviously, we're not saying people don't get fired, but, as a whole, I 100% agree with you. I've never been to Northern Virginia. I would not think that Northern Virginia was one of the most beautiful places in the United States. But that's an interesting little fact. Dropping the mic there, dropping the skull cap, dropping the skull cap. This is what I rub this sometimes.
Good luck.
It's a good luck rub. Okay, so let's go on down to the next chart here.
So the next chart they go over is, under Mr. Obama, the number of immigrants convicted of crimes who were deported. So this hit quite a high water mark. I don't have the number. You see, it was, let's see here.
It's a New York Times thing, so it's partially.
It doesn't tell me what the number is, but it hits a high water mark between right after 2012. The number of immigrants convicted of crimes that were deported is the highest it's ever been. So it says, it's under Mr. Obama, the number of immigrants convicted of crimes who were deported was double the number who were deported during the Bush administration. In fiscal year 2016, 58% of the 255,000 immigrants deported by Immigration and Customs Enforcement were convicted criminals. So this is interesting that whatever Obama is doing, it's not more lenient towards immigration or illegal immigration than his predecessors were. And immigration has always been a problem. Our immigration system has been broken for years.
Well, I mean, I remember looking and seeing, I don't know, a few months ago, a Bill Clinton speech, or Bill Clinton saying, hey, we got to make our borders stronger. We got to stop this illegal immigration. It's been talked about for years. And again, Trump talked about it stronger than anyone, more vulgar than anyone, more,
forcefully,
greatly, more greater, more great. But, the thing is it going to add up? I think it will under this, because it's basically the platform of his campaign that, really helped shoot him up to #1 somehow.
Yeah, and really it was these issues that have existed for a while, and Trump just was the loudest voice screaming at them, because it's absurdity. And the house of cards that Washington tries to put together, it's so
great show.
But it's just it's so outrageous, it's so absurd that Trump was the one pointing it out and yelling about it. That's why I think he got a lot of the support. So yeah, obviously he exported a lot of immigrants. The next one is under Mr. Obama, national spending on healthcare as a percent of the gross domestic product. So after the whole Obamacare, it continued to rise as more people signed up for health insurance under the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. So basically, the rising cost of health care, like I said, it continued to rise, and the problem really hasn't been solved as far as healthcare goes by Obamacare. So that's still, and obviously, one thing interesting is that through budgetary measures, the Republicans can defund and repeal Obamacare, but they can't replace Obamacare without Democratic votes.
Really? Why?
Because replacing Obamacare would require a 60-vote threshold. Basically, they need a filibuster-proof majority.
Okay.
And they don't have it. They can
in the Senate.
They can
How
repeal.
many senators are there, Ethan?
There's 100 senators.
Okay, well,
It's 60 senators. 60 senators is filibuster-proof.
Okay.
So, and there's 52 Republicans. So they're well short of that 60 number. They have the votes to defund Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and effectively repeal the Affordable Care Act, stop funding it, but they don't have the votes to replace it.
Doesn't seem like they solve a plan either. Is the problem.
They can have a plan, but are the Democrats going to go along with enacting with that plan?
I mean, I would highly doubt it.
And really,
I mean, then how do Democrats get it passed? That's the question to go back. Obamacare.
The Democrats were filibuster-proof, I believe, when they passed Obamacare.
Okay, that would explain it.
That was before the Tea Party. Mm-hmm. It really started after Ted Kennedy passed away. And in Massachusetts, Scott Brown, the Republican, who drove around in his pickup truck, picking up votes, basically, that was who replaced.
Picking up votes in his pickup?
Yeah. Because of babies.
About that.
Whatever, I'm just saying words.
No.
Anyway, so he campaigned as kind of like an everyman driving around in his pickup truck. Okay. Which is weird because it was Massachusetts, but there are still more rural, small towns in Massachusetts. Okay. Massachusetts is definitely more higher concentration of elitists than I would say New York State is.
Well, I mean, when you say small town, let's clarify that there's small towns in every state, which obviously
small towns in every state.
That's a great reason Donald Trump got the W.
One thing I shared on my personal Facebook page a few weeks ago was a picture of a sign I took in Erie County, Pennsylvania.
Shout out to Steve Holland.
So Erie County, Pennsylvania, right near where I grew up. Mm-hmm. Probably a 25-minute drive to get from where I live in New York State to where this county is in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. Erie, Pennsylvania is located there, a mid-size American city. Jobs, just like my hometown, mostly is or used to be at least, and has that blue-collar union Democrats who've voted Democratic for years.
Wouldn't you say unions are very interesting and it's a big deal right now, and a lot of union supporters supported Trump, even though Democrats or unions have historically been Democrat.
Well, the suits in the union, the people who work at UAW headquarters, the
people that collect the checks from the people that
exactly, they've consistently supported Democrats for years. But labor voters who are part of those unions are not necessarily beholden to the union. So Trump really spoke to the fears that those workers have, or maybe the realities that those workers have experienced in their jobs being outsourced, or the fears of their job being outsourced.
And I really feel like you said one word, strong meaning of this campaign, and really about everyday lives, and that's fear. And Hillary Clinton's campaign was built on the fear of what Donald Trump was going to do, the fear of his, stances against supposedly, and things he said. But anyways, women, certain groups, discriminatory things that he said over the years. Fear tactics were thrown in there by her, even more heavily possibly by him. But fear was really back and forth in this campaign, and which is why we really didn't get to the issues as much as I wish we could have. That really, initially when Donald Trump, like he said, was driving off of attacking the issues that really were emotional issues to the people. That worked, and then it began, once it was Trump versus Hillary, it went right to fear. So first it was, attack the issues, the past, the Obama presidency, and then, it jumps right over to fear.
Yeah. Word. And the thing is that, people love fact checking Trump. And like fact checkers, if they truly enjoy their job, they're going to have fun 4 to 8 years. But the thing is that the facts or the truth in what Trump was saying was always secondary to the emotion. That, so it didn't, the people who supported Trump, it didn't necessarily, didn't care to fact check everything he was saying. Because that's not the reason. Yeah, exactly. People make decisions on emotion and they rationalize with logic.
That's right. That's
exactly.
Right. People use that every day in sales. Going back to Donald Trump's issues over here, I would love to get into his immigration stance. Would you be okay with that?
Sure, let's talk about immigration.
Okay. I feel like it was the platform of Donald Trump. It was the fear from the left. It was the fear from the right. Donald J. Trump, ISIS is coming through the borders. We're losing our jobs. Hillary Clinton, Donald J. Trump's hates.
Yeah, so just like the fear of outsourcing jobs is this whole fear of the others coming into this country.
To take our day, to
kill us, to take our jobs, really, to be a drain on our resources.
Right. They couldn't be helping.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, you want me to go ahead and read that there?
Yeah, go ahead and read something.
1 second. I was going to go to another page. Okay, so obviously Mexico will pay for the wall. That's number 1 to the 10-point plan. Number 2, we're going to end the catch and release. Under a Trump administration, anyone who illegally crosses the border will be detained until they are removed from the country. I feel like that's logical. Both sides can say, hey, that's a great thing. I don't know why, you wouldn't be against that. Number 3, move criminal aliens out day 1 and joint operations of local, state, federal law enforcement. Terminate Obama administration's deadly non-enforcement policies that allow thousands of criminals, aliens to freely roam our streets. Well, a fact check on that, and this is my memory, I don't have it pulled up, of course, but I'm pretty sure Obama deported more immigrants than any other president, possibly any other president combined. So that's a very, falsehood out there.
He deported twice as much as George W. Bush.
Okay, he deported twice as many as George W. Bush did. Ethan is, for some reason, back there cooking hamburger right now. He just threw hamburger on the stove. We did not plan that. I don't know why he's doing it. Anyways, in sanctuary cities. So Austin is, I believe, considered a sanctuary city. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely correct. Okay. So by ending them, he's saying he's going to cut funding to them. Well, the mayor here, as in other, larger Democrat-leaning cities, or all the sanctuary cities mostly, they said, go ahead, basically end it. Try your best. So in turn, that's going to mean funding cut. In turn, that's going to mean it's going to go down to the people. It's going to affect things that we do. It's going to affect our park prices, our parking prices, any taxes you can think of. Things are going to go up. It's going to be a negative effect on the citizens of those sanctuary cities. So, you can kind of go both ways on it.
Yeah.
The main point on it is that the sanctuary city shouldn't have to be there, because although he preached on it the entire campaign, he's not going to just go and deport every illegal American, illegal alien, whatever you want to call it, undocumented worker, however you say it. He's not going to go deport them all. He couldn't, I don't think. but he's not going to. So these sanctuary cities are basically, in my opinion, just basically higher government officials in those cities that do not like Donald Trump, do not like those policies. So they're using this as leverage to go ahead with their agenda.
I mean, I think that's always a possibility, but really for Trump to export all these illegal immigrants like he's talking about, first you have to think about the resources that it would take. A crazy amount of resources. It'd be a crazy operation. Even if you did get those resources together, one of two things would happen. Everybody who thinks that what he's doing is wrong would have to grow incredibly complacent in letting something like that happen.
They'd have to go against their morals.
Because is it 11 million? What's the number? 11 million, is that the number?
I do not know.
There's some there.
Well, as I was saying, on his actual policy, or actually his visionary page, on his visionary page, he does not say that he's going to do that. On his visionary page, he only says criminal aliens, whereas the entire campaign, it was all legal immigrants, And so that's what I'm saying. These sanctuary cities, what are they really for? Now, if he's really only going to do this, only the criminal aliens, which I agree with personally, what's the need for the sanctuary cities anymore?
You're saying criminal aliens have to be?
I mean, that's what it's saying on his site. They're not saying everyone. They continue to say illegal, criminal, keyword criminal. And so are these sanctuary cities saying we're protecting criminals? Obviously, that's not what they're saying, but in essence, that's what they're doing.
Are criminals horrible people?
Depends on the crime. I mean, we can get into a whole nother episode on how insane our criminal justice system is as far as the laws. But again, that's going to be another episode. Right now, it's all about Donald J. Trump being great.
Yeah, so I think immigration, we do need, I was 11.4.
You said 11.
I was very close.
You said 11.
I was to the 0.4.
Okay, yeah, okay. It's actually gradually declined. Peaked in 2007 at 12 million, and now apparently has declined to 11.4 million.
Weird.
I've never felt that. I mean, is that fake news, or we fed fake news? I don't know. I fixed my beard, though. I'm looking at myself here. Okay. So, back to the immigration policy vision. Turn off the jobs and benefits magnet. Many immigrants come to the U.S. illegally in search of jobs, even though federal law prohibits the employment of illegal immigrants. Okay, so turn off the jobs and benefit magnet. I'm not sure. So he's saying turn them off to illegal immigrants, apparently, which I believe the laws already state that, so I don't really know what he's getting at with that. I'll go on to the next one here. Reform legal immigration to serve the best interest of America and its workers. That's a great idea. I mean, everyone says that. They've said that for years. Basically, when it gets down to a libertarian, which I believe Caveman over here, would lean that way. I definitely would lean that way as well. But you want open borders, ideally, because you want as free a society as you can get. Now, to open the borders to anyone right now, in my personal opinion, would not be a good idea. But with that said, I think we need to move gradually towards that. And as Milton Friedman said, someone I love, great economist, you can't have open borders and a welfare state. And right now we have a welfare state and we have open borders, which is one reason our debt's gone up so much.
We don't
One of minor reasons.
We're not supposed to have open borders.
We're not supposed to have open borders right now, but we do.
They're unsecure borders.
Unsecure borders, politically correct term.
And my answer to that, okay, we can't have open borders and a welfare state. Okay, let's get rid of the welfare state.
I agree. That's the point I was getting at is, again, we can't open the borders overnight, but we also can't end the welfare state overnight. With the welfare policies, how extreme they are, I mean, we're talking, I think, 50 years to slowly roll back these programs. I don't think it's right to cut them overnight. What would you say?
We're talking about Social Security.
I mean,
yeah,
not just.
yeah. I think I think so. What social welfare is to our citizenry, to the population of this country, is a drug, and basically
it's damn good.
It anesthetized. Yeah, it's damn good. You know.
Why would you
do I have to go out and get a job, or do I have to, just wait for a check to come?
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound insensitive, but I don't think we have a society that incentivizes hard work anymore. And basically, what happens with social welfare dollar, people become complacent where they are, and so they're not going to climb up the social ladder. Classes of people who live in certain areas of certain cities are not going to climb out of poverty,
right?
Because the government makes it just comfortable enough for them to be okay where they are,
right? I mean, I don't blame you. Go do the meet if you have to. There,
trying to do some Trump moves.
Do the Trump. Don't blame them. Okay. Well, what I was saying is, and I don't blame anybody who's using any type of welfare, social, anything like that. They should. That's what it's there for. The fact of the matter is the minimum wage. I'll just read this right here. I read this article I think a couple years ago, and so I just typed it in on Google. So welfare currently pays more than a minimum wage job in 34 states and the District of Columbia. So let's go. This is just crazy in my opinion. 34 states. So why would we work? I'm working. I'm lucky in life. I've had some good opportunities. So I have a good job right now. Somewhat, I like it. Somewhat, I mean, great. I love my job. I do. But anyways, in case my boss is watching. So 34 states, more welfare than if you're working on minimum wage. And above that, in Hawaii, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington, D.C., welfare pays more than a $20 an hour job. And there's 5 other states that yields more than a 15 per hour job at the National Review. And so when you really think about those numbers, they can be astounding. You can definitely understand or sympathize or any way you want to look at it and say, actually, hey, some of the people using the system are very smart. I sat here and said, hey, Donald Trump, I don't know why people are bashing you for not paying taxes. That's something I wouldn't want to do.
You're getting called.
I'm, getting called. Go ahead.
You need to take it?
I need to take the call.
All right.
Go ahead.
Take the call. Okay. So what Skeeto was talking about here is some very good points. Jacob has to take that call. Skeeto. Some very good points about. Oh, he's cooking my ground beef for me. How nice. Probably because it's burning. So, anyways, what he was saying was making great points. If we're in a situation where people on minimum wage can make more than a $20 per hour job, what's the incentive from going out and getting a job that pays $20 per hour? Now, these are statistics that I want to review. They're from the National Review, which is a right-leaning publication. So certainly they can cherry pick and manipulate statistics in a certain way to play into their narrative. But if it's anything close to that, then that's astounding. I did a research paper in college where I found data where it was I could see that in the state of New York, my native state of New York, the welfare system, you could make more than a $13 an hour job, and that was some outdated data. So I think this is very interesting to take a look at numbers that I want to dive more into because I think this is a big problem in our country, and so much of it is the social welfare state. FDR grew it a lot, of course, but then LBJ talked about a great society and how his social welfare system was going to create this great society. I think a lot of things about America are great, and some things about our society are great, but there's so many people and so many areas of this country, in the inner cities, that just don't have all the opportunities that they should have in America in 2017. And the problem is government. Government is the problem. Government has to get out of the way.
And Donald J. Trump is the solution. That's the thing. You're hitting the emotion with people by getting riled up. You're saying government is the problem. This is the problem. And that's a great point you're making, but the solution should not be Donald J. Trump. Now, while some of the things he says sound very appealing, number one, as we went through his visions earlier, how do you enact those things? Number two, how do you pay for them? And number three, ideologically, do you support them? And by ideologically, do you support them? A lot of things get into morals, and when government is in so much control of every aspect of our life, people start to get very heated on those morals, get very heated about the ethics of things, and which we should. We're emotional humans. We care about each other. Different people have different visions for society. Different people want certain welfare programs to go towards certain things, and as I was saying earlier about the 34 states that are currently giving out more welfare combined with the federal government welfare than you can make it a minimum wage job, that goes directly to that point. Coming back around here, as my favorite part of this is Donald J. Trump, since it's his day, not ours. He said it's ours, but it's his. Okay. We need to ensure that other countries take their people back when we order them. Okay, so that's one of his visions. It's a great vision. I don't exactly know how we're going to enact that. I don't know how frequently, if at all, it happens right now, but number 8 on his vision for immigration in America. Ensure that a biometric entry, exit, visa tracking system is fully implemented at all land, air, and sea ports. So, yeah, it's a little scary. So basically, you cannot leave the country if Donald J. Trump says you cannot. He will say that. I'm not saying it will be used like that, but I am saying that's what he's calling for. And looking at our budget, or deficit, as we talked about a little bit earlier, and we're going to get into in a later episode, I don't think I want a biometric entry, exit, visa tracking system put at the border when at some point our taxes may be raised to 80% just to keep our government going and keep the bubble rising. So that's, as Ethan said in the background, a little scary, a little something. I see his point on it. It's, we want to be safe for people to come in. We got low power on your cell phone. Power saving. Sorry about that. Ethan. We're no longer live.
Are we no longer live?
I don't know.
Back out of it.
Resume.
All right.
Back if we have left. And number 10, reform legal immigration to serve the best interests of America and its workers, keeping immigration levels with historic norms. So I started to get into that one a little earlier. And immigration levels within historic norms. If you go back over to the point, or what Ethan read a little bit ago, and it kind of shocked us both in that I think it was 12 million undocumented workers, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them. And now the number is apparently 11.4 million. But again, that's according to Wikipedia.org. So for what that's worth. So key issues on immigration, basically the why, not the how. We haven't got to that. I don't think it's on this page. But the why is there are at least 2 million convicted criminal aliens now inside the country as of October 2013. This is Donald Trump's page. So, and that's the Center for Immigration Studies. So obviously, I think both sides can agree. The criminal convicted, as we mentioned earlier, we don't want them floating around everywhere, unless it's for something as simple as, medical marijuana for someone that has, epilepsy or something like that. They're obviously a bad person, as Jeff Sessions, our new Attorney General, would state. But anywho, that's another episode as well. Current immigration policy costs taxpayers $300 billion a year. Okay, so it costs us $300 billion a year. What it doesn't show is how much we gain from that, how much economic growth we gain from that. It's just a little detail left out. Hey, Ethan, could you come back over to the podcast? We're losing people left and right.
We're losing people left
Yeah,
and right.
give me your head. I need to rub it for good luck. All right, all right. Okay. Looks good though. If you like that.
Great, I'm all cut.
Okay. So Ethan's back over here hooking up a new power cord for us.
Try to plug that on here right now.
Okay, we're plugging something in here on my end.
Oh, acting live video. Cancel. Oh, damn it! Reset. Nice.
All right, I like how you got him started with hamburger.
I wasn't hungry. Oh my god. This has to be a staple.
Oh, I wasn't hungry. I had to get some burger in me.
You want some?
No. The podcast is over now? Is that what you're saying?
No. We're going back on. We can't end like that. If you don't want to see this anyways. Listen, I gotta text someone. I'll just eat. Sorry. Got some vegetables in there. Right here. Yeah. I'm so nervous. I don't be afraid of what I eat anymore. It's all on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, well, that's Ethan's eating we have a video cam. Go show. Be proud of what you're eating. A big old pile of meat. Let me show this. Okay, you get a little lock. Can you see that?
Wow.
That's our podcast.
That's some locker room talk. Meat faced. All right, I'm going back live.
I'm not sure. Don't tell me I'm not.
Should I post this? Or delete it forever?
Oh, sure. We're going to delete it forever? That's pretty intense.
What sucks is that's the live video I posted everywhere.
What do you mean, like up in the cloud?
All right, I have something I want to talk about.
Okay, what?
All right, going live. 2, 1, shit. All right, back up here on Facebook Live. Apologize for the technical difficulties. I believe Jacob pressed the button
What?
trying to plug in the phone.
I believe the Samsung 7 about blew up. That's my thing.
It's a Samsung Note 4. Why don't grab your own plate? Go build your own meat plate.
I'm on a diet. How many times do I have to tell you?
That's the first time you told me.
Awkward. You're live. We're building an audience for you. Thank you. Keep going. We're telling your followers to join your video. Okay. So what did you want to talk about?
We still have, we're still being recorded. So, yeah. So what I want to talk about, I was bringing up here. Let's see if I still have it open.
Keep talking.
Yeah, here it is. Located in beautiful Austin, Texas, where it was 75 or 76 when I drove home today. Worked a short day at work, drove home about 1 or 2. Beautiful down here. Always something to do. I like walking around at night for no reason whatsoever. I was watching the news the other day. Yeah, we're back up to 2 years. I was watching the news the other day, and there's a bunch of Austin restaurants are donating inauguration day profits. So what's going on is a lot of progressive Americans feel threatened, and they feel one of two things: that they need to support organizations that are going to be there to fight our government when it's wrong, to fight Donald Trump's government. Or they feel that they have to donate to organizations that the government has funded in the past for one reason or the other, but they are afraid those organizations are going to be defunded going forward. So they're donating, these companies, these restaurants are donating to, okay, so one place is donating all of its profits from the day to American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, which I think they do a lot of good stuff. You know, some stuff I don't agree with completely, but I do think they do a lot of good stuff. You know, they're good.
It's got a damn good name.
Yeah, great name. They do great stuff. I mean, kind of the negative connotation is that you're going to small towns and, you know, saying, oh, you can't have a cross in your town square or whatever.
That can make some people mad. Some people happy though. So
Planned Parenthood and Southern Poverty Law Center. So Southern Poverty Law Center is one of those organizations that everyone takes as gospel, but really they paint a lot of organizations as racist when they don't necessarily have to be painted as racist. You know, it's probably something we can talk in an episode in the future. And then Planned Parenthood. So it's been a hot, third rail, hot potato,
silver, gold, commodities. Go ahead.
Hot topic political issue for some years now is Planned Parenthood and the funding of Planned Parenthood.
Via Bitcoin.
Via the government.
Via the government. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and basically the onus of the whole argument is that Planned Parenthood is the biggest abortion provider in the country. And basically, conservatives and Republicans mainly say, well, I don't want to fund abortion. You know, obviously there's a whole choice debate, pro-life versus pro-choice, but there's a whole other debate, you know, in it, is that should everyone be paying for it through tax dollars? Should people be being forced to pay taxes? People don't have a choice in paying taxes. And then that their money is being taken and paying for something they disagree with. And then there's a concern now with the Republicans running the House, the Republicans running the Senate, and the Republican president that Planned Parenthood is no longer going to be funded through the federal government. So what happened right after the election is a lot of progressives donated to Planned Parenthood. Out of there, you know, no one had to force them. No one had to force them to donate. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing when people are donating and they don't need the government to hold a gun to their head to donate. You know, so that's going on. And you see these companies here in Austin, these restaurants in Austin that, you know, one of the organizations they're giving towards is Planned Parenthood. Let's see. Another place is donating all of its day's profits to the same ACLU, Southern Poverty Law Center and Save Place.
Well, you know.
Oh, no, I've been to this place. It's pretty good.
Oh, darn it, I'm messing something up here. I wanted to get back to what you just said on Planned Parenthood. 324 000 times 0.47. So, a great point on Planned Parenthood you were making there. I believe I was kind of zoned out, but it was volunteerism as far as donations. You know, my thought on Planned Parenthood briefly would be I'm against defunding it on the account that just like every other welfare thing, I don't think.
Patrick Hazelton's asking, am I eating just ground beef?
Yes, he is. I was like, what in the heck? He just
It's seasoned with
ground beef.
taco
Started pouring it
seasoning.
on his plate. I'm like, you gonna eat anything else other than that? He's like, no, have some beef. Pretty American, pretty Donald J. Trump. So back to my point real quick on Planned Parenthood is, I mean, like I said, I'm very heavily libertarian leaning, so ideally, yes, we wouldn't need it. Can we cut it overnight? Should we cut it overnight? I do not think so, just because the same fact as I said with all other welfare dependency, it needs to be a slow, probably like 50 years to get us completely off of it and go towards more individual, libertarian, voluntarism society. Next note on that, Planned Parenthood. So supposedly some statistics I saw there were 47% of Americans support Planned Parenthood funding. Okay, perfect. So 47%, and obviously kids are included in this, so it's kind of skewed, but 47% of Americans would be roughly 152,500,000. Okay, so we're going to multiply that number times, we say $5 a year, 15, what do you think? I mean, do you think those people are very supportive of us? Many. So I would say some would do 20, some would do 5. Let's say $5. So 47% of Americans that love to support Planned Parenthood would put $5 towards it. Hundreds, thousands, that's $762 million for Planned Parenthood if everyone who supports it just donates $5. I feel like that's a pretty easy solution to get people off each other's backs, just to stop the bickering. Again, I don't think it should be defunded overnight, but talk the talk. If you really want to back it up, don't get on there and complain on how people are defunding, taking people's money who don't want to do it. Taxation is theft. Hashtag taxation is theft. So I'm not on that webcam, but point being is voluntarism can work as far as donating to nonprofits, donating to things you believe in, but you can't just talk the talk. You have to walk the walk. You have to donate. And, that's why we're requesting $50 per person per video. No, I'm just kidding. Ethan?
$10 per month, you can become a premium cave dweller.
Which includes
premium access to
plates of ground beef.
You get my recipe.
Nothing else.
You get my award-winning recipe for ground beef with taco seasoning.
People say I eat a lot, and I come over to Ethan's house, and he just pours a pound of ground beef with nothing else on it, little taco seasoning, and that's it. I mean, we're in Texas, Tex-Mex, a taco shell, maybe some peppers, lettuce, tomatoes. Any of that would go great with that. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're a commie.
I know, honestly, I did. I love Tex-Mex. I love making myself Tex-Mex, but I found that the meat was my favorite part.
The meat is your favorite part.
Yeah.
All right.
I could save money by going straight to the meat. Get my veggies.
What'd you say about being straight to the meat?
Can go straight to the meat, save some money.
I mean, I don't want to get in the locker room talk on this first episode, so I won't. I'll stray away from it.
But to the point that you're saying right now,
I don't think that was necessary.
Is that there, and this is a thing with government lobbying with so many of these issues, that if people would donate to these organizations, government wouldn't have to fund them, and instead of using all this blood and treasure to lobby government and to win elections
and time and energy and using those taxpayers to pay the people that are going to delegate the money. I mean, you're wasting probably a quarter of the money through bureaucracy.
So inefficient.
It's very inefficient. I got into an argument with someone, a friendly trolling. I try to be very neutral in some ways, but their argument was fully against that. The funding of private versus public. They were trying to say that public organizations such as the government, basically the government, does everything more efficient than the private industry is what their point was, which, statistics, basic logic usually, would say the opposite. The private industry, the private sector gets things done a lot more efficiently than big government, bloated government. As far as big government goes, if you could take some of that money down to the state level, maybe take some of the state down to the local, and then give some of those local taxes even back to the people, I think you'd have a lot better functioning government. I think that's how the republic was supposed to be, minus the fact that the taxes are insane and not even close to what they were also supposed to be. Hazel, you've been a loyal supporter. Just throwing out, there you go, question mark, I like it. Okay, back to
We
what
like
I was
loyal viewers.
Donald J. Trump. I mean, I think Hazel deserves $10 off this month.
Yeah, I think it's his first month free.
You get your first month free, Hazel. I don't know who you are. You seem like a really great guy, smart guy, the best guy, one of the best people I know. Definitely huge. Let me check the news, see if there's anything to talk about on the news. Since, the caveman keeps going over to his beef cave every once in a while. Okay. This moment belongs to you, blah, blah, blah. Pastor tells Trump, in the Bible, rain is a sign of God's blessing, and it started to rain, Mr. President, when you came to the platform. It's pretty deep. Pretty deep.
Wow. It also just mean that, weather.
It could also mean climate change, even.
Yeah, I know. It would be snow. It should be snowing.
I don't know. That's a good point, though. Oh my gosh. Look at this second meat plate he is eating. Just a plate of meat. I'm glad I do not. Oh. Okay. Hazel's excited. I went to school with the caveman. You went to school?
Yeah. Wow. I was raised by wolves.
Okay. I did not. I thought you swore. You told me you didn't make it past the 5th grade. You said you were over public schools and you were going to go, you basically went to Minnesota. You went to Texas, back to Minnesota. Is that your life story? He's swallowing a big old mouthful of meat, per usual. Locker room talk.
So, born and raised in Jamestown, New York, I graduated from Jamestown High School in 2009.
Shout out.
I went to SUNY Geneseo, State University of New York at Geneseo. Graduated in 2012, in August of 2012. During that time, in the spring of 2012, I did a full semester internship on the Ron Paul 2012 presidential campaign.
I like it.
Afterwards, I worked for interned for some organizations, worked for some organizations concerned American voters, so Libertarian Super PAC, interned for Young Americans for Liberty. I did some work with Americans for Prosperity. Then I came down here to Austin, Texas for the first time. I worked on a couple projects. And then I was up in Massachusetts working for the Leadership Institute in the fall of 2013. Then I went back to Geneseo, New York in 2014. In 2015, I was in Rochester, New York. Went out to Minnesota in November of 2015. And I came down here to Austin, Texas in June of 2016. I've been here ever since. So there's my life story.
Great life story.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I'll give mine since, you did yours. I graduated from Peru High School in 2008. Went to Indiana University, graduated in 2014 or 15. I think it was 14 anyways. It was a great time. Great time.
It's a long 4 years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a long 4 years. It was more about learning social skills, something that some Eastern elitists lack. You do pretty good. But back to that. In the meantime, before that, or a little into that, I was a clown in a circus. My name was Skeeto, hence Skeeto and the Caveman. Again, he didn't really get to the fact of, and I don't know the story of why he's the Caveman. I can imagine that just popped into your head one day. That's a question mark.
This guy at college, for whatever reason, referred to me as the Caveman. I think it's because I kind of had longer, straggly hair at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like maybe like the Geico Caveman.
You have long, straggly hair? Lots of love?
Yeah. Here, I'll bring up a picture.
Bring up a picture. Okay. I want to say a quote, and again, it's a little hardcore in some ways, but I really like this quote I saw on my Twitter. Adam Kokesh, if you've heard of him, and he basically in relation to, Ethan, take it. In relation to immigration, which we're talking about, he says, I'm tired of hearing obedient, tax-paying, law-abiding American citizens say that illegal immigrants are going to destroy this country. If America means anything about freedom, more American than they are. Illegal immigrants break unjust laws, disregard borders, and work under the table without paying taxes to this anti-American government. We should be turning the rebellious examples set by illegal immigrants to make America great again. Pretty powerful quote, pretty good point. A pretty hard line point somewhat, but he, like I said, makes a really great point that, they're doing a lot of the things we should be doing. Okay, Ethan, what are you looking at now?
I'm trying to bring
Ethan's
a picture
looking
up.
at how to flavor different taco meat while we're in the middle of the podcast. We find out. Now he's back to his Facebook. You don't know how many people like us. We're still in the middle of the podcast, Ethan.
Wait, this is live?
You're eating a meat plate.
This is live?
You're looking at your Facebook and meat foods, and you have 30 links open. You haven't clicked on any of them other than Facebook and meat posts. Anyways. Okay.
You're making up the meat post, man. I wish I was looking at meat post. We have 2 people watching us on YouTube, apparently.
No kidding. That's pretty awkward. Thank you. We're here for you. We support you. Right.
No, this is the recorded version. This is
YouTube?
This is Facebook. This is this one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I would guess that the 2 people watching us,
Might be me.
the CIA one and you're the other.
Okay. There, see? There's the camera there.
I would hope we're important enough to have the CIA giving us a glance. I don't like how my head is partially cut off on the YouTube channel. Oh, great. Your $20 microphone is broke. Now that Trump's president, it's going to freaking cost $150. The border tax is going to be there. You're going to have to buy an American-made product, you commie.
Hopefully you can hear me.
We don't know. We don't know. Hazel, tell me something good. We need a shout out. We have 3 viewers right now. What are you praying about? We have 3 viewers right now. We need let's get some input here. Tell us something we need to do. Do we need to adjust my hat? What topic would you like to do?
Yeah. Let's get. We need some from.
Let's get some.
Sorry, you lost all your when you went off air. Yeah, it took a lot of work to push it out to all the different places, and we got 9 viewers. So.
Oh, you did our best. He's still here. I'm telling you, Hazel is a good guy.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. I'm giving you a lot of props, Hazel. Hazel's a great name, a great color. Is Hazel a color?
No.
Okay, Hazel's a color. I just like to show off my shirt. Could you read it? Oh, wait, you can't read. Can you read?
Yeah, give me liberty or give me death.
Oh, yeah. Who says that?
Patrick Henry.
Good job. All right. So, solid shirt. I like it. With my cowboy hat. It's basically unbeatable. But go ahead and shoot us out. Hazel, I mean, we're counting on you. We got other 3 people viewing there, and I don't know if we can count on them. TikTok. Ethan, stop eating your meat and stick something into the speaker. Testing. This kid is killing me.
Testing. Okay, I think it still works.
Yeah, it still works. Just stop eating your meat for 1 second.
I'm almost done with it, man.
2 pounds of just grade C, 70% lean, fatty meat. Yeah.
None of that's true.
None of that. Okay. It looks pretty fatty.
It's 93% lean.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, jeez.
Look at the package.
I don't want to go get the package. I know you're lying. I don't want our audience to think you're a liar.
All right, so we have to let's find another topic to talk about.
I feel like we need to start wrapping up the show today. This was a great episode 1. I mean, we covered a lot of different topics. I mean, I thought it was great for us completely not having any agenda. It was the Donald Trump bounce around from topic to topic day. I mean, you're eating a meat plate. At this point, I feel like let's wrap it up. Next Friday, we'll be back on.
We'll be back on.
We'll be back on next Friday. Possibly the same time, possibly 4.
We're not going to be canceled.
I don't think we're going to be canceled. I do think we'll have an agenda next week. If anyone has any recommendations, specifically Hazel, our exclusive Caveman and the Skeeto and the Caveman member. He's definitely got something here. We're doing great. Laugh out loud. I appreciate it. He appreciates
No, we got something
it.
here.
Cowbell. That's cowbell. And that's a wrap for our show. Ethan does want to make his closing remarks that he is prepared.
I'm prepared.
Okay. Let's go. Prepared. Closing remarks.
Sure. I want to thank for everyone for watching, whether you're listening, and let's just say this. Whether you're watching us on YouTube today, whether you're watching us on Facebook, whether you're listening to the recorded version, I'm going to put on some podcast websites and distribute as a podcast here.
That's a good idea.
If you're watching, you've got camera, you're watching this camera, you're watching this camera. Or if you're watching this years in the future, you've gone back in time and you found this to where Skeeto and the Caveman got their disorganized, foolish start.
I'm sure you can do better things with your
I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you are watching this in the future, congratulations, because you're watching a part of broadcast
I like
history.
I like the closing remarks. I will close on. We're going to have more specific topics in the future. Every Friday, we're going to do a little podcast. We're going to eventually get a set time-ish that we do it and a set time-ish that we finish, with times possibly to change, of course. To answer the question out there, yes, you do get hats for being members. And it may not be this hat,
You might get your head shaved.
I may get my head shaved. I mean, for the right price, I will do anything, pretty much.
Plus, we already have people who want to be guests on the program.
We do have some guests that we're going to be bringing in to kind of factor in. So if we're talking about certain topics, we'll have certain, obviously, guests on. Nobody too famous yet. I mean, Ethan does have connections to Ron Paul, so that's obviously a goal at some point.
Yeah, because he's Dr. Ron Paul.
Dr. Ron Paul may sit down. I might get Adam Kokesh on. I don't know if anyone knows him, but, anyways, more to come in the future. Excited to get our first somewhat show taken care of, and I thought you'd have some kind of cool sign off, like, and from Skeeto and the Caveman, Austin, Texas. I don't know, is that maybe you could ring the bell and I'll take the cowbell?
Opening, I think we already did enough cowbell.
We need more cowbell.
No more
We
cowbell.
need more cowbell.
Just the neighbors, man. The neighbors, man.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Anything else, Ethan? I feel like we should cash this night out.
I think we're good.
You got your meat plate
Got my
finished.
meat plate. I'm going to drink this meat
I'm
juice.
excited. I'm excited for next week. All right, everyone. Ethan swallowed all his meat. He's got his meat juice.
Oh, my God.
Down, and
Stop.
that's a night. Turn this thing off. I don't know how to work technology.
You know how to turn it off before.
Debatable.
All right, so this is still going. We're still on YouTube.
Who's following this on YouTube? Like, I gotta know. I'm excited. Well, that was fun. I feel like
I think we learned some lessons.
learn some lessons.
Oh, I'm not going to go in hungry again because I got hungry and I need to eat.
Just like I have to eat.
See, this is the magic part. You see all this? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Shit, we're still on YouTube. I don't know how to turn this one off. This has 2 viewers, but I can't see what the other viewers are.